Morning, and time to start a new project. And I was given a kit yesterday by a fellow indoor flyer, and it's not one I've heard of before. It's a company called Jasco, Junior Aeronautical Supply Company, American company, started in the 30s. So I got this very vintagey looking box, and it's called the Spotter biplane, or Bipe, and 18-inch wingspan, and I thought I would make it radar control. Why not? Originally rubber powered free flight, but I think I'm going to try RC. There's plenty of wing area there for an 18-inch model, so it'll take a little bit of weight. So, you know, let's open the box up. I do know the wheels aren't with the kit. They've been swiped. It's a tricycle undercarriage. I could make it a tail dragger, I suppose. Either way, originally 9 and 11 pence. Which dates it back into the 70s. 9 shillings 11 pence is 50p. Let's have a look. Rubber or engine powered, Junior Aircraft Supply Company, Southport of England. It's got England now. I thought it was American. I'm sure it said American on the historic American model aircraft brand. Okay, so perhaps they had a UK branch. Anyway, let's have a look. Plan. Yeah, okay. We'll look at the plan in a minute, shall we? This is my pile of rubbish from the Bristol Scout build. I'm keeping it there for a reason, all of which will be revealed in the fullness of time. Look at the plan in a minute, shall we? No, let's look at it now. Oh, I'm so indecisive today. I'm going to see how quickly I can build this. This plan is available on AutoZone as well. I've already checked. I'll put a link to the plan in the description. If you want to see it, come around here. So, very basic construction, as you can see. Looks like the fuselage size is solid balsa. That makes for a quick build, doesn't it? A couple of formers, bit of sheeting top and bottom. Bottom wing, top wing, only half a wing showing. So what I might do is I might photocopy and turn them over, or I might just make the plan transparent. Probably do that actually. Sheet tail feathers, makes it easy to cut an elevator on the back, and a rudder. A slimish fuselage. I'll have to dig out some micro gear, but all in all, I mean, just a bit of fun. And I have got another model coming within the next week or two at most, so I'm going to build this one first, and then we'll be all set to go. I might knock the dihedral down a bit. Actually, it's saying that 1 inch under the top wing, 3/4 of an inch under the bottom wing. That's a stability as a free flight model. So I'll probably knock that down a bit. Oh, we haven't looked in the box yet, have we? Getting ahead of myself there. See what we've got. Nice piece of celluloid for the windows. That's a lovely colour actually, isn't it? Look at that. Doesn't look like there's a huge amount there, but it's only for the wings and tail anyway, so I'll probably end up ironing that to get some of the creases out. Rubber motor and prop. Come in handy somewhere. Got propeller bits. Another propeller bit. Block for the nose. Look at these stickers. I think it's fair to say that this might be a little bit they might soak off. They might soak off, mightn't they? These lovely Jasco stickers. Never heard of it. It's amazing, isn't it? How can I never have heard of it? I don't know, Cliff. Oh, look at this. unopened tube of balsa cement, completely shrunk. I wonder what that's made of. Bit of strip wood, looking reasonably straight, just looking down it. Oh no, I've got to cut all the bits out. Cool, I'm going to work for this kit. Bit of glass paper, London abrasives, so it's definitely a UK kit. That's funny, isn't it? It's printed in blue. Never seen that before. Won't take long to cut these bits out, actually. That's interesting. What's the dotted line doing on there for? Surely it's not to cut out the centre. Save weight. I mean, it doesn't matter for this plane really, because I'm going to RC it and I'll have a heavy battery in the nose. Does the plan say remove centre? I mean, there's not going to be much left. No, it's not showing anything. I'm not going to remove the centre. This will break very easily. It's a bit of a twist in it. I don't know. I'll insert a couple of pieces of wood going this way, and that'll take the twist out. Hold it. So formers and fin. Oh, I know what that is. Of course, the dotted lines for sanding. That's the sanding mark. Just give it a bit of a section. Choose those sides. Quite long, isn't it? And a piece of sheet wood. That's for doing the top and bottom of the fuselage. And a dowel. So there we are. All in all, a fun looking little kit. So I'm going to get set up. And some people cut all the parts out first. I don't tend to do that. I'm just looking at fuselage parts. I tend to cut out the bits as I need them. I'll leave that sandpaper out. There we are. Fun little aeroplane. I'll find some suitable radio gear to go in there. Slightly concerned with the width for that fuselage. It is quite narrow, but it shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. I'm just thinking in my head, if I use two pair of rotary servos, the little 2.8 gram ones, that's plenty of width, and a receiver easily will go in there, and the battery on its side. So yeah, this is going to be fun. Fun, quick build. I say quick. We'll see, won't we? So let me get set up, guys, and we'll start cutting. Right, ready to begin. I need the fuselage sides out. But I see I've got a P and an S here, which will be port and starboard. And I'm pleased to see that the lettering's on the inside. So let's make a start. I might not put, no, I probably will actually. I was going to say I might not put the front former in because I've got to mount the motor, but the motor I'm going to use is not mounted onto a plywood former as such, so it won't be worth worrying about. The straight lines, I suppose I could use a rule. These here I'll just cut out by hand like that, and that one there, like that. I'll cut all these bits out, guys, and come back to you in a minute. Nearly there, guys, nearly there. When you're cutting out pieces like this, by the way, with a hole in it, cut the hole out first. If you cut it out afterwards, the chances of it splitting are greatly enhanced. This is quite hard balsa. Even with a new blade, see how it's split there, look. It's split across there, but it doesn't matter because it's split away from the good wood. Oh dear. There we go. There we go. You can always do, oh yeah, this is how I cut out the circles sometimes, by the way. I just put the blade in like that and just rock it and move it around, and the rocking motion does the cutting more than trying to cut around, because the blade invariably sort of spins off a bit. I've done that one there. Yeah. Not sure what this piece is. All will become clear. Oh, no doubt. Make sure that if the blade's going to slip, it's not going to go into your fingers. It's a bit of a nuisance if you cut yourself, to put it mildly. Right, let's just look at the back of it, see what needs trimming. Just at the end down there, wants a little trim. There we go. Okay, so we've got A. Oh, A, C, where's B then? What is part B? Right, as I was saying, to cut the circle out, this is hardwood and this is a short area here, so the tip of the blade is in the building board and I'm just rocking it like this, slowly working my way around. And the hardest piece is the when you go in cross grain, like this bit here. If you've bought a modern kit, then it'll all be laser cut, and these techniques won't be required. See how I'm just working my way around? This is spiked in there quite hard, so it's not like it's going to slip out, but just be aware if it does where it's going to go. I think this instruction, cut across, applies to the manufacturer. Cut it, yeah, they probably print these out, you know, in great long lines, so cut across here. This hole is for the rubber motor. I'm going to need to put wires through and push rods, so I might need to tweak these at a later date. Nearly there, coming back up to the cutting with the grain now. It'll probably split across, which is fine. Let's just cut this notch here, like that, and that one there, like that. And we'll cut across here. So it's quite hard with this. There's 5 strokes and I think I'm through. Yeah. See, I'm cutting the outside edge. If I cut this first, this will be floating free. So, and then it's going to be hard to hold. So I'm cutting the big piece first so as I can just hold on to it. The first cut is probably the most critical one because all the other cuts follow the first cut. So if the first cut isn't on the line, then you are struggling straight away. And they try and keep this former shape intact because I want to make a hatch because the battery is going to have to go in the top, and therefore I'm going to need a shape. Bearing in mind the fuselage sides are quite thick, these notches are quite thin. I might have to, well, I've got to sand the edges yet on a straight edge. So I'm just going to use this as a 90-degree angle and I'm going to sand like this to make sure that things are sanded flat at an angle. This here is going to go sort of like that, and you can see the notch is at the same depth as the side, so I can either cut that down a bit, although this particular one is going to have the windows there, so I could leave it. Let's look at the plan again. There's window frames. There's a pair of window frames to go around here, 1/32, which is about the gap that's left, so that's perfect. So I'll leave that. So I'll just sand the bottom, make sure it's square and straight. So I'll just sand all of the formers, and then we can start fuselage construction. And this is thank you to, I'm not sure I mentioned his name. Thank you to Martin for thinking of me with the kit. Much appreciated. So thanks, Martin. He's a good egg. Back soon. So the plan is pinned down, and I'm going to start assembly. Now the thing to remember is the first formers you put in are the ones which are the same width. So you make a box in the middle, and then you can bend the back and front in. Now B, C, D and E are all the same width. B has the main wheel undercarriages, which is going to be attached to it. Before I fit it, I'm just going to drill some holes to stitch it on. So I'm just going to drill some small holes, top and bottom, like that. And then I can fit B, which goes in here. As you can see the dotted undercarriage there as well. That would go in there. So I'm not going to fit A and B yet, but I can certainly fit C and D, C and D. The only, I just realised I can't lay that on there to glue it because of the taper there. So how do you do it? Well, that's a very good question. I think I've got some blocks here. I could build it up on the blocks over the edge like that. So A, B, C is that one. Just double check. Yeah. Let's not build it over the thing. We can see what we're doing then. So I can certainly put C in. C is this one. You notice that there's a little twist on everything here. So I'm hoping that the twist will come out as I glue these parts in. And once it's glued in, I can sand the bottom of the former to get it to the same angle as the base of the fuselage. And I'm pressing it down because I want it to flatten out the fuselage side, the little twist in it. Just run some CA down the back side. There we go. Right, that's the first former in. Can't put D in until I've stitched the undercarriage. E could go in, that's D, this is E. No reason why E now can't go on. The hole at the top for the push rods, probably. Excuse my arm, but I've got to keep the pressure on it. Set that set a moment. You can only put these formers in if they're the same width. So there's a start. Pair of formers at 90 degrees. Okay, carrying on, guys. The formers are in, and I'm just joining the back. And easiest way to do it is over the plan. Make sure things are square, and so I'll just run some sandpaper in between the bottom bit like this. Just tapers the back end a little bit over the tail post, so when you join it, which is there, you've got more area to actually join it with. Okay, and then there's one more former, F, which is just here. I saw it just now. F is going to go in there. It's a very heavy construction for a rubber powered model. If I was building this rubber powered, I'd have to make it a lot lighter than this. The sides are 1/16. They could be a lot thinner. In fact, you could take out big chunks out of the middle of it to lighten it up. So there we are. That's the fuselage complete. Well, all bar the top and bottom sheeting, which is yet to go on. I'll just sight it down. Oh no! That's not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so next job, I would say, looking at the plan, sheeting to go on from here to here, and I want to make a hatch at the front. I've got to find the motor, and this, oh, by the way, that was interesting, pulled in like that at the front, just to bring it in. I steamed it, just a little bit of steam on just to ease it in. That was easy. Yeah, so I want to make a, see, the cockpit goes up to here, so this will have to be hatch. So what's next? Yeah, so the back sheet into there, underneath sheeting, as you can see, I've drilled the holes in the former. We can't see that, but I've drilled the holes for the undercarriage. So before I can sheet up to this point, I've got to put the undercarriage in. So I'll bend an undercarriage, or shall I sheet the top? Might sheet the top first. In fact, I could sheet the bottom all the way up to where the undercarriage goes. And also, while I'm at it, let's just bring this level. Same with the top. Same with the front, which is sheeted. Yeah. Just taking off a little tiny bit. Right, now sheeting. I might just glue it straight on and then turn it over and trim it off. It's got to go sideways, by the way, don't put it lengthwise. It'll add no strength and it'll crack so easily. This way it adds a lot more strength. So I'll cut one bit there and another bit will go up to there. Run some CA on that, and we put that just there. Turn it over, trim it off. So getting the cutting mat out, let's just trim it off all over the wood. So the other piece wants to come just up to there. And we could mark it. Actually, it comes up to that former. So what I think I'll do is to mark it from the inside. Trim it off both sides. I'll give it a slight rounding later on when I'm sanding it, but for now I'll just bring it flush to the fuselage side. Okay, so that's the top done. I'll do the same on the bottom up to, but I've got to put the undercarriage in first, up to here, all the way down to the rear post. I finished the decking on the top and a little bit on the front there, just sand that flush. I bent the undercarriage, but instead of mounting it back here and putting a nose wheel on, I've made it a tail dragger. Less weight, easier, and I'm afraid the front one might have impeded the motor installation, so I thought, hey, let's just make it a tail dragger. Fuselage built just about, oh hang on, this piece here is to wrap around over the top, but I'm not going to put that on because I want to make a hatch. So I'll leave that for a minute while I think about radio installation. Same with the side panels here that go on window frames. I'll leave that until I've got the, I'll leave that until I've got the radio equipment sorted out. So just for the minute, let's just crack on with the build. So next thing is to, I could put the tail feathers together, since how it's right here in front of my face. And I think we had a problem, didn't we, with the twist in the tail plane. Now, I could steam it, try and get it out. It should work. Just hold it over the steam for a little bit and twist it the other way. I'll cover it before I fit it. Same with the fin, I'll cut it out and then we'll come back and take a look. Okay, I've steamed this. It is pretty flat now. Don't forget I have to cut the back edge of this off for elevators. It's a big tail plane. Half an elevator works just as well, well very nearly as well as a full one. At this scale, one elevator going up and down doesn't rock the model about to speak of, so I might just go for one elevator. So we'll just cut out the fin parts because I do need to pop a rudder on the back of this. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, there's a small gap running up here. It's because the knife blade wasn't vertical and it happened to be leaning that way on this side and this way on this way. So it's actually, had it been the opposite, it probably would have joined up. The two angles would have joined, but so what I'm going to do is just put that on there and sand that flat. Same with that one. That's pretty good. I've got to cut a rudder on top, so reasonable size rudder. I'll possibly cover it first and then cut it off and hinge it with something suitable. So we'll just glue on the, what I might do is put the rudder on, I might cut it across there and up for the rudder. Save having a little thin bit at the bottom. So it's going to glue on there. It should fit up the fuselage beautifully. And because this is end grain, it's going to take probably a fair amount of CA. The easiest way to do it is make a little pool, run it through the pool and drop it in place before it gets all soaked up like that. And if you want to, you can give it a little sand just to fill any slight grooves up. And then we can offer it up. Because I use the half tailplane technique on one of my 30-inch gliders and it works absolutely superbly, no problem at all. So that'll go like that, that'll go like that. It's okay, isn't it? Next step is going to be, I think I'll lay the wings up. I'll leave this like this for the minute and I'll put the wings together. Then we can start sort of offering things up, and I'll find some radio gear and generally crack on. Good. Okay, so I've pinned the plan down for the wing. This is the top wing. I've cut out all the wing ribs. I've filed the slot for the main spars. And I've got this file here. I didn't have to use one of my homemade ones. This one's the perfect width, just for going down gently to the required depth. And the main spar then is a nice fit in there, nice tight fit. Okay, so far so good. Now I've got a problem. Of course I have. The leading edge is 3/32. Oh, just broken that rib. So I've got to file a little bit more off the bottom of that to take that. That's fair enough. But my problem comes with the trailing edge section. The thickness of the rib at the back is considerably less than the thickness of the trailing edge section. The trailing edge section isn't actually long enough. It's about 1 centimetre short, 3/8 short. So I'm thinking, shall I ditch this trailing edge section, given those 2 points? I mean, it won't be anything to find a little bit of extra wood to make up the shortfall, especially as it's joined here anyway, so no big deal. I could also actually file a slot in the trailing edge to pick up the back of the rib. I would only have to file a slot about 1/16 of an inch to get it down to the correct, because don't forget the trailing edge section tapers. So the good thing about that is it would make the join here much stronger, the back of the ribs. The negative side of it, it means that the wing is going to be a 1/16 of an inch less in chord measurement, which means it will probably not quite sit on the top of the formers. But I can add a little bit to the back, which might be a better idea, because it's quite a nice straight hard balsa, which is, you know, lots of strength in it. So I think that's what I'm going to do, because I rather like the idea of this being rebaited into there. That's what I'm going to do. So first of all, let's just get these ribs filed a little bit deeper here. It's about the perfect thickness for 1/16. Maybe slightly too loose actually, but this is 3/32. So I think it's a good chunky aeroplane, this. I think I'm just going to file a little bit or cut a little bit out of these ribs just to bring it to the correct depth. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Let me play with all the parts, then we'll start to assemble it in a minute. The other thing worth noting is that the dihedral is cracked in at the width of the fuselage. So I'm going to take it down to the center section. I think what I'm going to do is build one wing using the full, and not cut it to length here, leave it the full span. And then when I've got this half built, I'll make the plan transparent, turn it over, and build the other wing. That sounds like a plan to me. Okay, so I've made a bit of progress. Nothing's glued yet. What I've decided to do is to just move the leading edge back. It doesn't matter which side, it's the overall width is the thing, and I can either build up the leading edge or the trailing edge. I've notched all the notches down for the trailing edge while I can get to it easily, and just sitting the ribs in. Again, the main spar, it doesn't matter that it's not over the plan, because now all I'm doing is using the parallel lines of the plan to build the wing. So the main spar will sit in there. It's a shame that it's in two parts really, but there's a little joiner there, which is fine. They had to get it in the box, I suppose. So I'm now going to glue the ribs in. I've used these pins to hold it flat and the T-pins to keep it in the right place. So let's just, now I've got a choice. Do I use white glue in there, which might be better because there's lots of end grain both on the sides and at the end of the rib. If I can't put CA in and push it in because it won't get in there in time. It'll dry too quick. So I think I'll use white glue. For this I'm using just Speed Bond. Any white glue will do. Just put a little bit down there like that. And let's drop that in there. Let's put a bit on there. Put enough on to actually spread into the hole. I could if I wanted, I suppose. Get a pin in there and just smear a little bit on the side grain there just to make sure it is in there. The front one I'm not going to glue at this stage because I might use CA on that. There we go, squeezing out. There we go, a nice tight fit. Let's just use the pin to remove the surplus. Yeah, might just use a bit of CA on that for speed, just to hold things in place. I'll continue with putting these ribs in first, I think. By the way, I grouped the ribs together just to give them a sand, just to make sure that they're all sort of same sort of height, which is always worth doing before you assemble the wing. Bit annoying that the wood trailing edge is short, isn't it? But by the way, if you've got trailing edge section in a kit, that is to say it tapers down to one side, just take careful note because it's tapered down to one side is a 90-degree cut, the other side is less because of the angle of the cut. It's not absolutely essential to get it right, but it's always nice to get the 90-degree piece actually in the correct place, isn't it? See how these ribs now just fit in there a treat. They just go in there, really nice, smooth transition. This one's a little bit different because it's hanging out over the edge, so I have to put a pin in there just to hold things in place. Just squeezing it in there gently. That's okay. Now the tip ribs, funnily enough, they're cut blunt. They don't actually go over the top, even though it's shown going over the top. But that's just going to butt on there for the moment. Like that. Just put a couple of pins there to hold it in place. One there. The leading edge needs to be rounded after it's dried. What I'll do, I'll get a little bit of scrap balsa here and put a pin at an angle just to hold the trailing edge of that down a little bit. Like that, just to hold it down, just a little mini clamp. Okay, I'll just CA these front ribs in now. I'll just move them sideways slightly. Over the top, just hold it for a second. Not a lot of balsa on the front of these ribs, so got to be very careful. Right, now I'm going to drop the main spar in and then just run CA in, I think. I've got to make sure that this, yes, perfect length. Perfect length. Right, we'll let that set on the back edge there. Actually, no, I'll cut a piece of trailing edge to go in there. Anyway, there we are. That's the wing drying. So we'll let that dry and come back to it in a while. Okay, here we are. Let's get this wing unpinned. Unpin the wing, Cliff, unpin the wing. It's weigh a ton, this wing, I reckon, all this wood in it. But it matters not. There we go. And it's currently pretty flat. Flat as a pancake, as they say. Right. Couple of little blocks to stick on. Trim, stick on, sand, crack, bend. Let's look at the lower wing, which is where? The lower wing is, it's on the plan here somewhere. There it is. Oh, well, let's just offer this up for a bit of fun. I know it's going to fall through because I've made it a little bit shorter, basically, but there we are. It's an early look. Oh dear. There's no outer struts on this. In fact, the wings are banded on. I'll possibly glue the lower wing on and band the top wing on because I need access to the radio equipment. Okay, it just leaves the lower wing to build. So I've got to unpin the plan, move things up here, prepare the ribs, and build the lower wings. I wonder if I can make it in one piece again. That went quite easily, didn't it? I'll see you back when I've got the wing laid up. I'm going to build it exactly the same way. I'm going to cut into the trailing edge. I think makes for a much stronger wing with that like that. Much stronger. So I've assembled this one entirely with white glue. I think it's a little bit more gentle. So we'll let that side dry and then I can do the trimming and that'll be both wings made. I was wondering if I shouldn't have glued these two wing ribs together and therefore one wing rib would have finished off the wing and the other wing rib would have been against the fuselage. But at the very least, I think I'm going to need to break it here and re-glue, cut it there, cut through there. It says crack it, but there's no point in cracking it. I may as well just cut it through and then cut it through there, set it up at 3/4 of an inch and glue a gusset similar to that in here and maybe even on the main spar. Otherwise the main spar is not doing anything at all. So I've got to do the same with this wing here. Cut it nearly all the way through from the bottom and then I can put some gussets in. I did say it breaks my heart to cut through a main spar, but I will be putting the gussets in. So yeah, let's saw it through, I think. Let's put it on there. Okay. Okay. Now, if I sand a slight angle on the end of that, I can re-glue it back on with an inch of dihedral at the tip, and then I can also put in some gussets to make that strong again. So this one has to be 1 inch dihedral, which is, funnily enough, the exact measurement of this block. I want to put something under there just to support it a little bit. I think that's got it. Right, so I'm going to use white glue. I'm going to prop it up 1 inch and glue it all together. Do you want to come around a minute? So I'm going to glue that on there, like that. Put a little bit of glue down. A little. Just going to put another weight behind it there, stop it moving. And pretty fast grab on this glue. There we go. So we'll let that set and do the other side and do the other wings, and that will be the wings complete. The next job, I'll cut some gussets in as well, and the next job is going to be working a little bit more on the fuselage, maybe getting the radio gear in place, that sort of thing. Okay, I'm going to get on with this one and I'll see you back in a minute. I'm looking at the radio install, guys, and I'm using these two little 2.3 gram servos, are they? Out of a minimum RC model. And fuselage is quite narrow, so I'll leave it on the mounting plate, makes life a lot easier. And I'll put a couple of cross braces across to support them. But the horns are just on the inside of the fuselage. Okay, I thought great. And then when I turn it over, I realise that the sheeting on the leading edge of the wing needs to be trimmed back because the servos hang down. The front one, no big deal. The back one is into the area of the main spar. So I might have to, by the way, still haven't put the gussets in here. I might have to put a little bit of strengthening. I'm thinking maybe a bit of carbon just across here, a little thin bit. So the servos, I don't like this either. I'm going to put a block of wood in here. So the servos sit about there. They are just below the surface. And I'll make a hole through this format and a hole through here to take the push rods. There's one former there, one nice at the back. So I'm going to use carbon just to go down. So actually going through the formers will help it. Although this one will probably have to be opened up quite a bit. So I might have to reinforce this one down the middle to stop it falling apart. It's not a bad idea. I'll do that actually. So there we are. That's the radio install for the servos. The receiver I'm going to put at the bottom of this compartment. That'll sit right at the bottom, and then the battery, or the motor I should say. Let me show you the motor. The motor will sit right at the front here, and it should just fit inside, keeping it on the plywood construction. So that'll take up most of the space. It's going to go in there really easily. But getting that in there was, I thought, well, brilliant. And because I realised it hangs down past the bottom of the aeroplane. The servos were side by side, but I had to move them like that. to get them able to have the full swing. I did consider cutting down the horns, but then I'm going to end up with less throw and a good chance that they swing around so far that it might bind on the push rod. I'd sooner clip them in the holes they were in originally, so that's what I'm going to do. It's certainly easy keeping them on the plywood that comes out of the aeroplane. I'll just have a piece of balsa across the back and a piece across the front, and they can just sit on that, and I'll glue them in. I've still got window frames to go around here. The window frame is about as deep as this file all the way around, so they'll be even less visible then anyway. Okie dokie, I'll carry on. I've got my two little supports in, and I'm just going to glue I'm going to epoxy them in. I'm just going to glue them straight in there. I'll fed the cable through the hole later on. I think I can get a little bit more epoxy just on there. I've cut a hole in F1. The whole unit slides in nice and tight, and I can angle it down a bit and angle it right a degree, and then I'm going to take the nose block and I'm going to cut out not sure if I particularly want the cogs hanging out in mid-air. I might keep them back a little bit. The prop will go on there. So yeah, the cog, I'll have to cut a round hole and a square hole for the unit itself, and it goes in there quite nicely. So the battery will slide into here. I thought earlier on, actually, if I put the receiver there, then I'm going to have to, it's going to have the glazing on this part, so I won't be able to get to the receiver. It's not a big deal because the Micro Aces models, the receiver is usually buried anyway. And if I do need to get to it for any reason, I can always cut the bottom out. I'll get that in there and it'll disappear. And the 1S battery can just slide straight down here. Plenty of room, or at least I think there is. So I'm just going to start hacking this about a little bit, and we see what we get. All right, quick catch up for you guys. I've placed the motor in and just run some CA down the box, which is sticking out the front. And I've just popped the nose block on, and I'm just starting to shape it, just so as you could see what's going on here. There's a washer that goes on first, but for now that will go on there like that, and then the prop goes on there. Then there's a stopper on the end, so I've got about 2mm clearance, so I think that's going to be fine. I've offset it, a bit of down thrust and a bit of right thrust just by eye. So now all I'm doing now is just shaping the nose blocks down a little bit. I've only tack glued it with CA for the moment. I'll take it off and glue it on properly later on, but I'm just giving it a bit of a shape. I can feel it moving a little bit as I sand it. It's only got a very small piece of CA on it. I've got to be careful when I start taking in the sides, because the plywood encased motor, the plywood's quite a long way into it, so I won't be able to round it as much as I would like, I'm guessing. But we'll see, we'll see. I'll just keep going here, guys, and I'll see you back soon. I've still got to cut it into a little shape here, I want to make the top hatch. When I've made the top hatch, and I'll sand these corners, and then I've got to start thinking about maybe hooking up the servos to the tail feathers, put those push rods in. Maybe I'll tissue it first, not sure. Got to cut out the window frames, put those in, and yeah, very simple installation there, isn't it? So the battery will go sort of in here. Okay, now the battery will go probably, I'll fix the receiver. I'll fix the receiver down inside there, tuck the motor wire away, and then the battery can slip through that hole, plug it in, slip through that hole, and it can sit either all the way up here for CG, or if necessary I can push it back a little bit. So that's my radio install, really simple. All of these components, by the way, are available from Minimum RC. That's where the components originally came from, a Minimum RC aeroplane. They do everything separately on their website if you want to check that out, or look on Banggood or AliExpress for the same components. I like scrapping aeroplanes that have come to the end of their life because you've got all the mounting bits. I mean, here's a bit of the Cessna. Look, you've got all the mounting areas, servos. There's a motor in there in the front. So everything can be reused in little balsa builds. The undercarriage is a little bit too light for this one, but there it is. So I think I'll stop the video here and we'll reconvene, I like that word, in part 3, where I'll start getting the components together, a little bit of covering, start assembling it, and who knows, it may even get finished in the next video. The part 1 of this video, I'm amazed at how popular it has been. I didn't think it's more than a couple of hundred views, but a lot of you seem to like it. So I'll keep filming and entertaining you, and we'll see how this thing comes together. Fun, isn't it? Really enjoying it, actually, really enjoying it. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to part 3 of the Spotter Bipe build. We left last episode 2 at we'd built the wings and we'd installed the radio equipment. So today I'm going to continue with building the front hatch and getting side window frames on. Now the radio gear's in, and yeah, let's crack on. So I'm working on the front hatch. Got the components cut out from the template on the plan. Of course, on the plan this was all one thing, but I'm trying to make this front part removable for the battery hatch. I've sat the receiver in down low, and essentially it's the radio control equipment sorted, it's done. So I've put a piece of wood here, quite thick, a piece of wood here, and I haven't glued it, I've just spot glued it because I plan to cut through here and remove it. So I've got a hatch. So this goes in here like that, and it glues along the back edge and up the sides, but not along the bottom because I want it to be detachable. Detachable hatch, hatchable, detachable, hatchable. And then this side, I've just offered them up. It looks like I've got to trim the top a little bit here. It's a little bit above the former, so I'm going to cut off not a lot actually. Perhaps that might even be better just to sand it at an angle, so as I can glue the top piece on. In fact, I'm going to just remembered I'm going to fit this by having a dowel at the front, and well, I don't know though, dowels, you've got to do that, and I need a gap there if I do that. Maybe a little short stubby dowel, or should I just drop it straight in and rely on one magnet? It's not like this is only 1mm balsa, so it's just in case I do decide to put a dowel in, I'll just drill a hole right through before I put this together. So it's still a little bit above there. Yeah, I think it's got to come down slightly more. So I'll keep working on this and I'll come back to you in a minute. Alright, I've glued these side panels on. Hopefully I haven't got glue between them. I haven't got any glue along the bottom here, so this piece here I'm going to glue on, and we'll let that set. Then I'll shape the front former. I'm going to use white glue on this because I won't have time to get it in place with CA, and this will make for a better job anyway. So I'm going to put it along here, and I'm going to cut that piece off there, so I'm going to put it across there and then down. I'll reinforce the inside probably with CA sprayed with activator, and that will make it go all hard on the join. Okay, let's get it on. Oops, just dropped it. Hope it's not handed. It might be. I think it was fitting one way. That's better. Right, I'll just hold that down for a couple of minutes and then I can leave it to set. I want to go and cut out the side screens, so that's added 1/32 as well. Also need to thinking about, actually, before I fit the side screens, just offering up some push rods, because I'm going to have to make some holes through these formers, this former, and then out the back somewhere. Now you can see why I didn't finish this block, because that is flush with the top now. So if I'd have sort of taken it down, that would have been proud. Same with the sides. Right, let's take a look. I'll tell you what masking tape is good for when you're... Blimey, governor. I'll tell you what masking tape is good for when you've taken it off like this. You could throw it away, or you could use it to pick up all these little bits of balsa wood kicking about, and bits and pieces that you can't pick up with your fingers. Let's throw it out. Right, so what have we got? We've got quite a fancy looking front, that, isn't it? Quite like that. So let's do that side and this side. Right, I've got a bit of sanding to do to get this in the correct profile. Here, there and everywhere. So let's just have a little go to start with the knife. That's going to split into it. Let's come this way. This is going to be quite delicate, but what I plan to do is to beef it up with CA on the inside of the join. But it wants to be completely sanded before I detach it. This is just so pleasurable, guys. Right, I think that'll do for the minute. Let's have a go at sawing this off then. So I put 2 little marks in the balsa where I have to start my cut, which is here, and here. And it's going to be just to the inside of there, approximately there, I would think. I need to use the saw really because that would create a small gap for the tissue to wrap around. So I'm just going to go from there up to there. I'm not going to go too far here because I don't want to detach it at the back before I've had a chance to cut the front. And in theory I should be between my 2 formers. So I'm just breaking the glue joint really. Oh! Look at that. So there was a little bit holding it. Now I've got to try and lift this out. There we go. There we go. Sounded worse than it was. Just a tiny little bit in that corner that just holding it. Okay, that's good. So there's my little hatch. So what I can do is just tidy that up with a bit of glue, but before I do, I'm going to strengthen it a bit with some CA on the inside here. Put a good old amount in, give it a squirt. I squirted it off the bench end because I could see all this sawdust getting blown around. When you put activator on it, it sort of turns the CA into a sort of crispy lump. Sort of reacts to it and sort of makes it swell up a little bit. Looking good. Let's just give it a light sanding on the end. Correct angle. I watched a thing on YouTube the other day and they were talking about long form videos. And they weren't talking about sort of half hour or hour, they were talking about 4 or 5 hour long videos, saying that they're gaining in popularity a little bit. People can just turn them on and run them in the background. So I thought I could, when I finish this, I might edit them all together and just have one giant long form build video. If you want to watch it for like 3 or 4 hours, you could. Well, I'm happy with that. Right, I'm just taking a look at the elevator and rudder. So I've decided I'm going to go with a single elevator. It'll be absolutely no problem at all, and it makes life a little bit easier down the tail end. So I've gone for quite a big elevator actually. So that's going to go there. The servo, push rod here, the servo here is the elevator servo, and that goes down, and I'm going to put a horn in under the tailplane. The rudder is going to be slightly different. I'm going to cut a rudder in this, and it's going to be reasonably low because I'm going to bring it from here out over the top of the fuselage and bring it into here somewhere. So I'm going to cut a rudder here, vertical I think, 90 degrees to the bottom here, and leave this bit glued to the fuselage. The See, I could hinge it at the bottom there, but then it's very weak and just doesn't line up well. I'll bring the push rod out the top. It's not a big deal. So let's just put that there a minute. So I'm going to cut the rudder, and as I say, it's going to be 90 degrees to this bottom. So if I use that as a thingy, 90 degrees, and I'm going to cut it to about, well, I've got to cut it across here. I don't want to be too far up because it means bringing the horn out, sorry, the push rod out higher up the fuselage. So I'm thinking probably about there. That'll do it. So if I come across, say, to about there, it gives me a pretty decent sized rudder. Oops. Say about there, and then bring it straight up from there. Excuse my arm a minute. That's, say, a pretty decent sized rudder, and I'm going to hinge it using something I've never used before, but something I believe. Oh, I've got to split that. Something I believe actually does quite a good job. So we'll see. If you don't take off a little bit of a gap, then when you come to hinge it, it doesn't line up at the back. It sticks out over if you haven't allowed for the gap. Right, now I expect you're wondering, how do I judge where these push rods have to go? It's a little bit, that's okay. It's just holding on there. So now I've got the first part done. If I just take that off a minute, so let's leave it on and use this other one. By laying it over the top from the servo horn, which is there, to the elevator horn, which is there, I can see where it comes out of the fuselage. So I've got to make a slot just about there. Okay, so if my slot's going to be there and the height of it is going to be down there, I know precisely where I need to bring it out. So we're talking about probably there, a bit higher up the fuselage than I'd really like, but as the top one's coming out, it's not going to be the prettiest aeroplane, is it? Well, that's a start. Let's just see how we're going. Look at that, it's pretty much there, look. Pretty straight, no friction there. That's long enough to just gently bend up to where the horn goes without causing any problems. So the rudder servo is going to be a bit different because it's got to come up over the top. It's probably going to come out through the fuselage about here. And I'm going to have to make a similar hole here, which is going to make this incredibly weak. So I'm wondering if I should cut this side frame and get that in and get that strengthened before I go cutting this side away. Back in a minute, it's coffee time. Right, so I've got the template here for the side windows and I'm just going to go for it. Okay, so it's just a case of joining the dots, and you want to cut out the center first. The balsa is going to be very delicate anyway, it's 1/32, and if you cut out the outside afterwards, it's more likely going to sort of split just when you don't want it to. If it's not popping out, just turn it over and you'll see where you need to cut. Alright, before I cut the other one, I'm going to offer it up just in case things need to be altered slightly. Okay. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? It's a little bit short on the top there. That could be because that is... No, I'm not sure. I don't think it's anything I've done, because there's a little shoulder in there, so I haven't stuck it in extra high, and it does meet at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just put a piece of wood back on at the top here. Far out, to be honest. But there you go. Right, now I can go back to where I was. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark that there with a knife cut. The same at the back. Making sure it's pressed down there. Right, so I'm going to cut that from there to there. That should be a perfect fit. And it is. That gives us a nice platform for the wing to sit on. And the wing can sit on the top. I've still got to fit gussets there. That will sit on the top like that. And all will be well. Oh dear. Cheeky. It's a cheeky looking design now, I must admit. Coming together very nicely. Yeah, so I'll cut the other one out to that size. Be right back. So I've got two reasonably identical sides here. So I'm thinking I'm going to glue, very delicate, glue the one on this side. And then when this side's firmed up, I can cut out the slot on the opposite side. And this will hold everything together. Just to hold it a second. There we are. And then, actually I suppose I could maybe rest it on there. That's good. It's perfect height. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. And just eventually this will come out. There we go. Just run this down the inside, over the top, along the bottom. So now I can take out this side. Should be able to get in there. It's just above the, and this is the rudder side. It's going to come out the top somewhere, wasn't it? We said. So I can certainly go level there. No, let's do it on the top first. Save there. That'll hook onto there and come up through the fuselage about there. Somewhere around there. And then coming up through to the horn position, which would be about here. So I'm looking across here. It's coming through the fuselage, I would say about here. It's the center line. So I've got to make a hole here at an angle, just like I did with the tailplane. Sorry, the elevator, don't need that. The easiest way to do it, I think, is going to be right against the fuselage side. So come in a little bit, say about there. So I've got to make a slot like that on this side in the top, and then possibly make a small hole just here as well. Well, I will need to, yeah. I'll keep playing with this, guys, and I'll come back to you shortly. Okay, that's lining up pretty well. That's lining up pretty well, and that is lining up extraordinarily well. So now we can stick the side back on, or the back, not back on, stick it on. I think that's working pretty well. The window frame's in. Looks kind of vintage, doesn't it? I love it. Looks great. Okay. Next thing is I could hinge the control surfaces. Start again. Do you know what this is? It's a floppy disk like we used in the 80s, 90s really. Yeah, in the 90s. I busted it out of its square case, but this is very, very good for hinging, I have been told. So before I cut it up for hinges, I'm just going to rough it up because I've got to glue it. CA should do the trick nicely. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to strip it up. That's quite tough. Something like 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch. That's 6.5 millimeters. Should be plenty. I'm just going to have a bite of this. Do you think that looks fantastic? I made it myself. I'm going to cut a slot in here, pretty much midway if I can. When I cut the slots in this side, I'll round it off a little bit and we'll have our hinges, and the drop of CA should hold it. Okay, so I put 3 in and I'll just hand cut some slots, and I think 3 hinges are going to be fine. They're very light to operate as well. That's rather nice. So what I'm going to do, I've actually just run a piece of CA, a little bit of CA in on that edge, but I'm going to run some more in. I don't even think I need to round it off. Drip there, a little drip there, and a little drip there. Again, I'll use that piece of wood just to get the surplus off. There we are. And it's not going to pull out anytime soon. The beauty of doing it before you cover it is if you're slightly off and it's slightly high, you can sand it smooth. Yes, it flies perfectly all right, and no, it doesn't make it turn one way or the other. It doesn't seem to make any difference. And if it does, it's not noticeable to me. So that's the elevator. Now all I have to do is to do the same with the rudder and cover it. Once they're covered, I can stick it on. I think I had this brilliant idea, guys, and that was to get a position for a little dowel in here and here. I thought I would just drill a small hole right through, and where it comes through in the front, I can then open it up a little bit and things will be hunky-dory. But before I do that, just show you. Studying the plan, there's a couple of 1/8 square strips that you stick inside here to strengthen up this side, which is a good idea because I've got a nice little box going now. This was on the plan. I was skimming through the build instructions. I saw a reference to it and I thought, oh, I hadn't noticed that. So anyway, here they are. And there was a piece in the kit, so that's what it was for. But I thought, well, I've got a little bit left over. Well, why don't I put it either side of the hatch as well? I'm just going to put a small drill bit. I've started it off in a cowl actually, and push it through here. And we'll see where it comes out. There we go, it's through. It's such a small drill bit that the hole will disappear when I tissue it. So is it there? Yes, there it is. So all I need to do now is to make a hole to the diameter of this. And that might do it actually, because I don't want it to be very long, just a little tiny stub. The thing to consider with magnets is the polarity. So it's pretty important to keep the north and south pole facing each other. You remember your thing from school, like poles repel, unlike poles attract. Right, we use something which is non-magnetic to move it about. If it's too deep in the hole, it won't meet the magnet the other side. That's perfect. Let's get some glue on there quick. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, knocked it, but stroked it back. Now, before I put any more glue on it, I want to make sure, just for the final time, just make sure that the polarity is correct. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just enough to hold it, which is all you want. I'm going to cut a template out for the windshield and offer it up and see how it looks. Okay guys, so let's stop here on part 3 and continue with the glazing on part 4, and also a major modification mounting for the lower wing. Yes, I kind of made a boo-boo, but I'm sure it'll all work out. So we'll see you in part 4. Cheers. Oh, if you'd like to check below, there's a little link to buy me a coffee if you'd like to buy me a coffee, and metaphorically speaking I can have it in my new Baron Flights extra large mug. Check out Baron Flights channel for lots of interesting fun stuff. Baron's got 2 R's in it, by the way. So cheers, see you in part 4. Bye. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is part 4 of the Jasco spotter Bipe build, and we're carrying on from part 3, obviously, where we made up the window frames and the hatch. So in this video we're going to be cutting the glazing and fitting it, and also making a major modification to the lower wing. Okay, let's crack on with it. Cheers. So I've cut out the first wing shield as per plan. It's a little bit short for my model, so I've cut out a second one, and it was still a little bit needed adjusting, so I've cut out a third one, basing this one on that one and that one on that one. So this one I think is looking okay, looks pretty good. So I think I'm going to go with this iteration. Maybe I'll put the crease slightly further up to where it should have been originally. What I'll probably do is to cut it out of celluloid and glue it along the top here and stick it down like that, and possibly a little bit of glue at the bottom just to hold it, and then I can stick the side panels in when that's set. Makes for a very odd shaped windshield, doesn't it? Put that on now, I think. It's moving around a bit, so that will go there. Doesn't really need to stick along the bottom there, but it does need to stick there and on the front. And that one there, looks pretty good, although that could just be at a slightly better angle at the bottom. I could take some off there, take that off up to there, and I'll just want to plus that bit there to that shape, that angle. That one wants to trim off there. Trim that off first. I'm happy with that, guys. We'll go with that. We'll transfer this to acetate. Just wanted to slightly angle that on a little bit. We'll transfer this to acetate, and I think we'll be good to go. So we'll give that a tick. The acetate they give you in the kit is really, really thin, but this has got very, very light scratches on it. But I think it'll be okay. So I think the best way to cut this out is going to be to get this down like that. That'll do. And put that on the top and try and cut through it. That's what I think. Say like that. And just sort of cut through it. See how we go. Obviously I'll cut this last one last, as it will fall apart. Yep, final cut. In fact, before I lift it out, I'll mark the crease marks on it. One there, and there, and is it there? That's the crease marks. I think it has to be creased, so I'm going to crease it. Call me a rebel. Let's just tape it down, I think, stop it moving. we're looking at there to there. Very light strokes, so I don't want to cut through it. It might crack when I turn it, we'll find out in a minute. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if it actually does anything then. If I can get it to sort of be tight on the frame, it's going to make it a lot easier to glue it. I think that's worked pretty well actually. Now, it might be an idea to slightly scuff where it's going to run some glue in, because it's quite a shiny surface, isn't it, this stuff. Let's just take these off. I think I've been on this front windshield about an hour now, guys. So it's not a quick job, is it? But it is like a major part. So if I'm going to sort of sand along there, I could do with a piece of masking tape to act as a protection. So I do that there, like that, and just gently sand. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Gently sand in there. How did people manage before masking tape? I don't know. All I've got to do is clean the inside of this because it's covered in fingerprints. Let's offer it up. That's nice, that's perfect. I'm going to stop for lunch now, otherwise it'll be too late. I've decided to use my usual glue actually, guys, canopy glue, which is Formula 560 canopy glue from Pacer. So what I've done to give it a chance to stick to the wood, I've put CA on the wood where I want to run the canopy glue. So basically I've got a lot of glue to put on in a short space of time because it's probably going to dry. At least it's not going to soak in anyway. I'm going to rely on the sides to stick for a minute. If this is going to work. I can run some along the top, and I've changed the design slightly because I've put it in, I'm tucking the glass behind. No glass, it's not glass, is it? But anyway, I'm tucking it behind where it goes on the bottom, because that will just mean that it'll hold itself in basically. This should just, in theory, clip in there. And then bend around onto here. And I've got some masking tape all ready to hold it. Crudely to start. I'll refine it in a minute. So crudely to start, as you can see. Now I'm just going to stick loads of masking tape on it until it's as down as much as I can get it, really. It sticks on the plastic really well, of course. Just got to get it round onto the balsa on the inside. But what I might do is just tissue just slightly over the edge, so as it's sort of a nice tidy finish. Don't know if that'll work or not, but we'll find out soon enough, won't we? So when the time comes, I'm going to put a hole through here, and it'll stick to the balsa along the front. I'll probably melt it through with a piece of something, and then thread the dowel through and stick it on. And also, looking at the plan, the bottom wing is in fact banded on. There's a dowel shown here on the plan, and then what threw me was the fact that when I read the instructions, it said put the back of the band around the undercarriage leg, which was originally here. So I'll probably end up putting a dowel up here somewhere, and I'll band the bottom wing on. Why not? I had planned to glue it, but why not? I'm just wondering if I could put a weight on there. I may as well band it on, and at least this weight's a little on the heavy side, really. There we go. So I'll leave it like that to dry, and we'll come back to it later. Okay, it's been a couple of hours, so let's dismantle it. Pulled away there, there's a small gap. I can try and fill that. That side looks a bit better. Let's remove the tapes, see what we've got. How long does it say let it set for? Full cure in 24 hours, handling cure in 3 hours, so perhaps I ought to just leave it for a little bit. But overall, it's not too bad, it's nice and clear, it's streamlined, that's the thing. Right, so what I've got now is the rear one. You see, this is where the dowels go. So the dowel has to be glued to the back wall, so I've got to melt a little hole just in here. You see that? Probably not. So I've got to, this is where the dowels go, so I've got to melt a little hole just in here and opposite side, and then push a piece of dowel through, and that might even do. A bit of cocktail stick maybe. So I'm going to do the same thing now for the rear, according to the instructions. Do it in this order, and then you cut the side panels to fit. So that's what I'm going to do. Then when they're in, then I can start thinking about tissuing. Should be fun. Won't take long to do this model. Okay, you know the score, guys. I'll see you back later on when this is all done. Okay, it's been a little while, so let's just pull off the tapes, see what we've got. I mean, it's stuck extraordinarily well. It has been a couple of days actually, but probably because I put CA on it just to seal the wood, and I think it's possibly glued the tape on. It's all got to be tissue, so it's not the end of the world. Well, that back window looks pretty sharp, doesn't it? I think I might have scored the corner lines a little bit too sharply. Right, there we are. I think that looks acceptable. What I'll do, guys, I'll cut the side panels and pop those in, and I think then I'll come back to you. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make up a pair of templates to fit in exactly between these two cut edges, and that will be the glazing done. I think that looks quite smart. I've fitted the side windows, or nearly. Now I've got them hinged, ready just to glue and flop over, and they fit between the two cut edges there. The paper templates worked really well. I just scored along the edge of the plastic. So it's ready just to drop on. I've got a new idea with the tape, I'll show you in a minute. And my idea is I've folded the end of the tape over so as it makes it easier to remove. So I just drop onto there. It's spreading out nicely. Perfect. So I've got a little fold already on the tape on the end. So when I come to lift it, it'll just, I want to pull it off away from the window, so I'll put it on that way. See, so I can just get hold of that and pull it off straight away. It's all about technique, isn't it? And learning curves and all that stuff. Sometimes your fingers just are too big, aren't they? I'm going to put a weight on it actually, so it's not that crucial to get it all on. Put a weight on the bottom, and all will be good. Oh, look at that. What are the odds of dropping your pin in the glue? I was just thinking I might put some little bits of tape on here to simulate window frames or doors or something, just to enhance it a bit. It's worth it. What I want to do is to put one there. No, need two. Just get the undercarriage off the ground. So that's fully supported there, and if I can get a weight to balance on there, that will be both windows pressed down. There we are. Alright, come back in a few hours, guys. It's been, this is next day, so let's have a look. Ouch. That's pretty tight, can't see anything lifting there at all. So let's just have this lot off. And we'll see if my little bent tabs work well. Imagine they will. That saves getting the knife blade under the edge and potentially scratching the window. The trick is though to pull it this way. If I pull it into the stuck bit, there's a good chance it could lift it. It's all glass, isn't it? Look at that. It'd be nice if I could, after I've tissued it, just be nice if I could like put some little bits of tissue up on the joins to simulate a frame. We'll see how I feel. This reminds me of the Keelcraft Pixie that I built twice size, which is just in the other room here. I ended up with too much dihedral and it does Dutch roll a little bit, but there you go. Anyway, it's all glass. There we are. Looks like a greenhouse. Well, at least I can reach in here to connect on the push rods, so that's not a problem. Wow, look at that. It's all glass, sir. So there we have it, guys. I can't do any more woodwork to that now, it's done. So what's next? It's been a fun little build, isn't it, this one? And it's a cheeky little design, isn't it? Let's just put the bottom wing on for a bit of fun. A bit of fun. A couple of challenges along the way, working out the getting the servos in there. As you can see, I've added the gussets where I've done the split on the joins to maintain the strength on both sides, of course, and on the top wing. So this is off the top wing up. I expect the bottom wing will drop off, but one thing left to do. One thing left to do, guys. And that is to put the dowels in for the rubber bands. The dowels and the control horns. The dowels, if I can illustrate here, the dowels for the wing join go through here. Got to make a hole here, and opposite side here, here, slide one through, and at the back here to mount the rubber bands for the wings. So how am I going to do that? Well, these here pretty straightforward, because let's just see where the wing comes again, because they're through wood. Right, so it's got to be in front of the former there, so that would be about there. A little bit further up, maybe about there. The former slides up there, so I'll put one there. Not so, by the way, if you don't put it too close to the wing, because it's a devil to get the bands on if you do. And then one at the back. Originally the band was designed to go around the undercarriage leg, according to the instructions. And the undercarriage leg, let's just have a quick look at the plan. So I might have goofed here slightly, actually. We all goof, don't we, so often. So the plan shows that's not much of a fit in, is it, for the, if the band goes from there to there, it's hardly going to, I mean, it will hold it on because it's a solid fix in here, I suppose. I'd have to put it in just there. Would that be enough to hold it? I suppose it would. Yeah, probably would. Probably be okay. But the problem I've got is fitting. I can't actually, once it's covered, I won't actually be able to get a rubber band. It's not ideal. I prefer to put it. Thing is, I was planning to glue this wing on, but I would actually prefer it if it was banded on, if only for crash resilience. But then it's not going to be very resilient, because it won't be able to. The only crash resilience it would have would be sort of if it was to come straight out. Can't go back. I can put a dowel back there, but because the wing isn't actually, it's likely to bend that wing a little bit, because there's nothing to stop it from bending. If I'd thought about it a little bit more, guys, actually, because I've moved the undercarriage forward, I would have left this as a one-piece wing. I'm just wondering now if I can adapt it to make it one piece and cut that out, cut that part of the fuselage out, so it sits in there properly, and then put the trailing edge section back in and put a dowel back here. See, that's what happens if you change a design. You've got to think it through, and I didn't think it through. Or am I making it too much of a... I'm going to think about it and make a decision. I'm going to find some control horns. I'll think about this while I'm working on the control horns. Hey Google, stop. Okay guys, a decision has been made. I'm going to chop this piece of the fuselage out and I'm going to extend this back in, and then I'm going to put it down through the back of the fuselage here. So I think that's the way forward, and then it can band on securely without causing any problems. Because I don't see the point of banding on the top wing and gluing in the bottom wing, to be honest. So I've marked it up, so time to cut it out. I hope there's no hidden things I haven't thought of, but we'll see. Looks brutal, but don't worry, it's all under control. Okay, the servo leads are intact, so I've just got to remove this part here. Okay, went well. So we have a wing seat now, so that can go in there. And I'll extend the trailing edge across, and I think we will be able to then band that wing in by putting I can put a little bit of reinforcement on the inside of the side walls there. Put a piece of dowel in, and that's my back wing dowel in. So I'm sort of glad I've done that. I think that's going to work quite well. So the first step is to get a bit of trailing edge section and get it glued in there and set in. Did I keep any? Did I have any spare? I don't know. I can use a piece of this. Sort of bit in the middle, look, might this be big enough? Right, because there's a bit of end grain, we'll just give it a little pre-soak. Give that a minute to sort itself out, and while I'm at it, I'll put a little bit on this piece here and there. Just wipe the surplus glue off now while you can get to it. Put some weights on this to hold everything nice and flat. Yeah, so we'll give that a couple of hours to set, so that will take care of that. I can now put the holes through here, put the holes through the celluloid. I'm going to use a piece of wire heated up, just pushing it through. And the piece of wire that came in the kit, which I decided not to use for the undercarriage because it was a bit on the heavy side. So I've got this piece of wire here, so I'm going to just heat it up on the grill and just push it through. I can do that now. It's got to be next to the former because I have to put some glue there. So I'm going to say, oh, that's hot. I'm going to say about there. I've got to leave room for a rubber band to go around. That's about right. And there, just a little hole melted. A little bit bigger than that. Thing is with the wire, it heats up quick, but it also cools down quick. Got a bit of plastic on the end, that's what's burning. Okay, so there we are. So we've melted the holes. That just go in there like that, and it'll just glue against the firewall, or the former, and likewise at the back. I'll just glue in there. Oops, straight in, straight out. I'll just glue against the wall at the back. So what I could do is make 2 little holes for the lower ones, and yeah, I think that was a good move doing that on the wing actually. So I'll make those 2 holes, and then that will be very nearly. I've just got to sort out the bottom of that wing to bring it up level with the bottom, and that will be the ready for tissue covering. We like the word tissue covering. Cliff, you haven't used the word tissue covering for at least 3 weeks when I did my scout. So next scene, really, I'll do these little balsa bits, and next scene will be the tissue covering. And I'm going to use the yellow tissue that came in the kit. I might do the fuselage a different colour. Black? We'll see. I just put a pilot in, one of my daughters, bit of fun. So I've made some holes, and I'm just going to offer the wing up because I want to maybe make a centre section. Hopefully these aren't too tight. Actually, just before I do, how's that trailing edge fitting? It's good that side. Just double check this side. Each to their own, eh? What do you mean by that, Cliff? What I mean is, some people would build this as exactly as intended, free flight rubber. Other people convert them to rudder control. Other people, I don't know what other people do actually. Anyway, so I've got to build a centre section. Yeah, it's okay now. Got to build a centre section just to fill that gap in at the bottom. I could base it on that. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think I'll cut another piece. It's only soft 1/8. I'll sand it to a section. Once it's covered, I'll cover this bit separately and stick it on at the front and at the back. I think that was worth doing, guys. Chopping the back end out. It gives me a decent dowel fix in now. So I'll tell you what, it's starting to feel heavy. Mind you, it's got all the hardware in it. It'll be interesting to see where the CG comes out, won't it? Very interesting indeed, Cliff. Very interesting. Still, it comes out where it comes out. If I have to add weight, I have to add weight. I think that looks great, doesn't it? See, so now, if I have a hard arrival on one side, it's not going to break so much because the wing can move, as opposed to being rigid and breaking. You only move a little bit. I'm not going to glue the dowels in yet because I want to be able to lay it on its side to tissue it and stuff. So I think we are ready for the tissuing. Remove the bands and wings. No. I don't want to do that yet. I want to do the bottom piece. Let me go and find a bit of soft balsa just to go in there, guys, and get that made. And then, so there's my piece of wood, which I'll glue on after because I don't like the fact that there's such only a one rib holding the tissue there. So I'll glue this on afterwards. But I've had to glue in a couple of pieces of wood here just to support it because it's cross grain, so it has got a lot of strength for falling through holes. So a little bit of wood there and there just to maintain give it something to glue onto and stop it from bending. So that's the piece of wood, and that really is everything now. Now I'm going to start thinking about tissue covering and what colour I want to do it. So in the kit I have this lovely yellow tissue, which is here. It's well creased, it's been folded up for decades, but it actually seems like quite nice tissue, it's quite soft. So what I think I might do is just give it a very gentle iron with a low heat iron, just to take out the worst of the wrinkles. And then I'll start to think about covering. I'm thinking yellow on the wings. I don't know, black fuselage seems a bit... Oh, I tell you what, I've got the transfers. I'm going to try and put these transfers on. I don't know how they'll soak off. But it's got to be nice to pick up the Jasco logo, wouldn't it? And the roundels. That's for the fin. Not sure where the Union flag goes, but I think I've seen it somewhere on the box front. And these go across the wings, fuselage sides, so that'll jolly it up. So bearing that in mind, if I'm going to do yellow wings, then I really ought to think about maybe blue fuselage, because there's a fine yellow line around these, or is it just the, not sure if there is or not. Anyway, the blue will be a different colour anyway, so I might do blue fuselage yellow wings. How about that? I'm going to see what blue tissues I've got, and then we'll start to cover it. Take that one off, cover that separately, and like I said earlier, I'll try and maybe cut some thin strips of tissue to put up here to act as frames, and then cover the tail. Once I've got all the bits covered, I can start to assemble it. That will probably be in part 5 tissue covering, because I think there's probably more footage filmed than I realised for part 3. Hopefully it will be not too boring for you guys, and we can start afresh with part 5 tissue covering. Cheers guys. If you fancy buying us a coffee, links down below, that would be very welcome. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything and it does help promote the channel. So thank you guys. See you in part 5. Cheers. Right then, welcome back guys to part 5 of the Jasco spotter Bipe build. And we left part 4 with the glazing done and the wing incidence angle sorted out, which is on. And today we're going to start with tissue covering. So I've got the model, and well, let me show you the colour I've chosen. As you know, I've got yellow in the kit, which I'm going to put on the wings. But just for a bit of fun, I'm going to do the fuselage a different colour, and it's going to be blue and yellow. A little bit garish, but it's a fun aeroplane, so let's do a fun colour. I've just mixed up a little bit of PVA glue, white glue, with water, probably about 50-50 to be honest. I've got a brush, and I thought I would start by adding in, what's it on there? Yeah, by putting in some window frames, because it covers up the join of the plastic and looks kind of cool, I think. So I've got a brush. My finger's too big to get this on nicely. That's okay, and I'm going to cut it off here, and then when I do the side, I'll probably just sort of butt up to that. If I come down ever so slightly, hopefully this will cut without tearing. Yep, I'll sort the top out later. So there's one bit done. It's on next actually, because then the piece at the back can overlap it. No, let's go down. Let's do this way first. I thought about going along the top, but I don't know if I should or not, because I'm not sure that this tissue is, I've cut it wide enough. I'll have to cut some more. Okay. Got a little bit squeezing out. It's just damp the finger. There we go. Moisture on my finger just to continue it along. I'm wondering if I should put a piece down the front of the windscreen, or whether that's just going to be too much. Yeah, it's going to be too much. We'll leave that as it is. Now, I can't turn this over and work on the other side because it's going to knock this off, so I'll let that very gently dry a little bit and then I'll come back to it, and then I'll start by covering the bottom and then the sides and then the top. I suppose I could cover the hatch while I'm waiting for that, couldn't I? Let's just cover the hatch. Because I'm sticking it onto solid wood, it doesn't matter which way the grain of the tissue goes. Okay, get in there now. Considering it's early April, well, this is Storm Dave blowing through, as they've named it. I wonder if there's ever been a storm cliff. I like that, it's a nice colour, isn't it, that blue. Goes on very nicely. So what I'll do, I'll let that dry a little bit and then I'll trim around the edge and see if I can just sort of turn it over the edge slightly. There we are, so that's going to be like that, one thickness of tissue and no bare edges showing. Now I'll trim it all off flush when it's a bit drier and do the same to this end. I hope that worked quite well. Okay, there we are. Well, let's let that set and I can trim that. It won't hurt to go on the inside actually, save trimming it. Let's just turn it right the way around. There we go. We'll leave that on there, guys, and come back to that in a little while. Just cut off an odd bit here, it's not pretty. There we go. Hey Google, stop! Hey Google, stop! I think before I turn it over to cut this side, I don't want to smudge that off, so what I'll do, I'll just get my hot air dryer and just dry that side. It takes a second to blast it, but it's just worth not knocking that off now. If you don't get glue on the overturn, then it cuts very easily. That's a lovely colour, isn't it? Very nice indeed. I think it looked particularly handsome next to the yellow. I think that completes that side. Not perfect, learnt a little bit there. So a couple of little areas there just to touch in. Little one there where I nicked it. Otherwise not too bad. Still got the fairings to cover, so I'll cover the other side, guys. It looks very plain now, doesn't it, that? I'll cover the other side, and then we'll be able to carry on a little bit more with the top surface and the fairings. Great. Right, okay. So I've just done the fairings on the undercarriage, and I started them here, so I've got an extra, I think I've got 2 layers of tissue around the front to try and bind them to the actually undercarriage wire itself. So that looks nice. I've done the top deck, so that's the fuselage covered. Quite pleased with it. Let's try fitting the hatch, see if it will still go on with all that tissue there. Yeah, there we are. Nice one. Now that's the blue tissue finished with, and I've had a weight on the fin overnight, and it's as flat as a pancake. So that will go on top of the tailplane when it's covered. I suppose actually it might be a good idea to try and apply the decals, which is this one here, before I glue it on, while I can get to it. I assume these are water slide transfers, not just sort of, oh, here we go, it's starting to move. I was going to say not just sticky, starting to move. Right, what I like to do is to get it off the edge like that. And I'm going to run it parallel to the hinge of the rudder post, approximately. Give it a dab, give it another dab, give it another dab. That's where it's showing on the plan, so that's good enough for me. Get the other one in. I think I'll pop that one in as well. Curl up together. They curl up and then they sort of flatten out again. Yeah. That is a lovely logo, isn't it? It looks a little aeroplane. Yeah, I think that will go nicely there. Here's a tip for you. If you want to slide it about on the fuselage, make it wet first, because I want to make sure I can go back as far as I can. That's nice. That's good position. Don't want to get too tight to the edges, of course. Just nice. It's been super making it from a kit, and I think I'm very grateful to Martin for giving me the kit as well. Take it off the end slightly. I think like that, so it's flying. Yeah. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That shininess will disappear when I give it a coat of something. I like it. Nice. Right, stop there for a minute. Okay, we're on a roll. Now, I have a choice. There's always a choice. Do I use Prit for gluing on the tissue on the wings, or shall I use white glue? And I think I'll use Prit to start. I might use white glue on the other wing just for the illustration of it. Or another alternative you can use is dope and then lay the tissue on and then put some thinners through the tissue, reactivates the dope and stick it on that way. Let's use that bit to start. And ideally you want to put the grain of the tissue lengthwise on the wing. The way you tell which way the grain is going is to tear it, which is a shame because I'm going to waste valuable tissue. But one way it'll tear cleanly-ish, and the other way it'll sort of go off target a bit. I'd say it was sort of inconclusive really. The other way of telling, usually the longest bit, is the grain direction. So I tell you what, let's just go with that direction, shall we? Chance it to luck, eh? There's a fruity sounding motorcycle. I don't stick it to the wing ribs to allow it to stretch out fully, but I think it was Tony said on my Bristol Scout video, he always sticks it to the rib and then it doesn't pull so much between, and therefore pull the wing out of shape, which sort of makes sense to me. So I'm going to do it that way today. Oops. And I mentioned before you can get blue pricked stick, or the equivalent blue stick, which is even better than this because you can see how much you put on for starters, and secondly it goes clear as it dries, so it's a win-win there. Just put that over there. Okay, so we'll do the edge. We want to come round about a 1/16 just to come up the trailing edge a little bit. Come up the back of the trailing edge, I should say. And cut this off here. Let's just put a weight on there a minute. Stop it moving about. You will find that if you stick glue on the leading edge and you come up too far, like stick it on the top here, when you put the tissue on it, the tissue will stick to here before it, and you don't want it to stick to the top of this, you want it just to stick to the actual leading edge. What some people do is to put a piece of wood just in here to prevent that from happening. It gives you a cleaner edge. So another piece of, say, 1/16 just sanded round just to fill it in, which is a good idea if you want to modify it slightly. Turn it over like that. Go around the tip. Like that. Somebody has just put something through my letterbox. Okay. And here's a little tip for you. I'm not going to cut this flush with the rib here, because what I'm going to do is just to bring it around I'm going to bring it around just inside the rib, and it'll stop it pulling away as the dope shrinks it, or the water, my shrinking medium, whatever I use. So what I do is just bend it round, that's fine, into there. So I'll just peel that back slightly. And stick it on that rib like that. And that will stop it then pulling off of this rib as the dope dries. So that's the bottom of the wing covered. As you can see, pretty straightforward. I shall do the top now, actually, I think. I'll give you another tip in a minute as well. So I don't want to get any glue on the top of the leading edge, so I'm just going to put it right on there, over that rib, down the other side. Trailing edge is fine, you can get it on there because that's flush with the wing anyway, so no problems there. And like I said earlier, I'm just going to put some over the rib. I'll leave the main spar along there and over the wingtip. I had another little tip. Somebody said if this goes dry, just take the glue out and just leave it soaking overnight, and it does re-energize it quite nicely. Let's just put a weight on there a minute. So exactly the same. Stretch it lengthwise and then bring it down. Stretching it widthwise as you go. The more you can stretch it now, the better, because it means the dope or water has less work to do. If it's got less work to do, it's going to be lighter, although you will need to fill the pores of the tissue. Right, and way to tell the pores of the tissue is to suck the tissue after you've doped it. See if you can suck air through it. If you can, then the pores are still open. Why would you want to close the pores? Well, it causes drag, and therefore your model's going to not fly as long, although this of course is rudder controlled, so it's got a motor. But if it was rubber powered as intended, you'd lose a little bit of air time. Right, let's just cut it. I'm not cutting it flush. I want it just to come round. Oops, I want it. Oh, look at that! I've nicked that. I want it just to come round the trailing edge a little bit. If I've nicked that, I can put a little bit of glue in that and push it back together. So here's a little trick you can do. You're cutting along here. You can put this down. Let's put a weight on there a minute. You can put this down on there, like that. I'll get a nice straight edge that I can stick around the corner. And I'm making sure the blade is turning this way because I really don't want to go off course at that point. And this is overlapping. I can see that the bottom has come up quite nicely up the sides, so I can just do that. Possibly, no, that's okay. That's okay. I can take that bit off. All right, let's just just looked at the clock. It's coming up to 17.5 minutes so far. If I edit this down, which I probably will, here and there, you know roughly how long it's taken me to get here. 5 minutes may have passed on the video, but 17 minutes in reality. I've got one more little trick up my sleeve to show you, a little tip I should say, more than trick. It's just that centre section to do, and oops, I think we're getting there now. Again, I'm going to curl it around that rib so as I can prevent it from pulling away. In fact, when I come to do the centre section, I'm going to overlap this bit. I think I might use white glue because it's more accurate to place it. Here's another little trick to show you. Get a nail file. Here's a great big one, but I just want that to pull onto there a little bit more, and as I cut off most of the tissue, I can't grip it, but if you use a nail file, you can sort of grip the tissue and pull it over a bit. All these tips, by the way, are tips I've picked up along the way. Most of them are not my ideas. Sometimes, if you're going a little bit crazy with the Pritt, you can get sticky fingers, and then you touch your tissue and tear it and all sorts of things. So, if you keep a little bowl of water handy, just to give your fingers a little rinse, it keeps them nice and clean and prevents damage. Okay, so it's surprising how heavy that feels. That's the only thing with Pritt, actually. I think it is quite a heavy glue. So what I'm going to do now is cover the next part of the wing. Right, it's exactly the same as the other side, but I'm going to be putting on watered down PVA, and it's about 50-50 mix. And I'm just going to put a bit more around the air because it's end grain there. I'll have to go over that again. Pull it lengthwise to start. The idea is to get out as many wrinkles as possible. And using the PVA, it does make the tissue go a little bit, possibility of it tearing if you're not careful. But there's a bonus, is it'll go around, it'll help to wet it to go around curves a lot better. Pritt won't allow you to do that. It's puckering slightly now, just rubbing it down. You can also lay the tissue on wet, of course. Right, now, if I lay it down, is it going to stick to the surface? Hopefully not. Let's cut off. Leave a little bit to overlap. hold the scalpel down at a shallow angle, and it won't drag the tissue so much and rip it. It seems like I'm sitting in silence when I'm filming, because I am. When I'm not filming, I put the radio on, but I can't put the radio on at the moment because of copyright material playing, so I leave it off. So it's all right for you guys watching with the radio going in the background, or telly or anything. It's just me and my thoughts. Right, just got to cut to this to turn it onto that rib. There and there, and possibly there, just to help it around the main spar. Just give it a bit of a okay, so it can't pull off that rib now, can't possibly. So that's the top done. And that's the bottom done. I'll do the top. Now, I'm not going to have enough tissue, am I, to do the other wing? I'll have enough to do 2 surfaces. I'll find a bit of yellow in the stash. So we'll do that. Top wing, exactly the same way, same technique. I'm going to use this, and I'll see you back in a minute. Just watching the Patrinsic brothers live on their Easter Sunday fly-in. So very quickly, guys, I've tissued the lower wing, had to find one extra piece of tissue for this side. And now I'm going to get some dope out, I think. Oh, no. First off, I'm going to tighten it with a bit of water. Spray it and peg it down and see if it... Quiet, Blas, I'm talking. Spray it, peg it down and see if we can get it to tighten out a little bit. I've used Pritt stick for speed, and means I can get straight on with the water shrinking and watch the fellas fly in. Now this has just got water in it. You can put a bit of IPA in it for a quicker evaporation. In fact, I'll start with the top wing to make sure that's absolutely dry. So what I'm going to do is just make sure you can see clearly. Now the rain is gone. All I'm going to do is give it a light spray, very light, like that. That is very light, hardly visible, and I'm just going to put it down like that. What I've got to be careful of is, see how the tissue goes all saggy. I think I'll actually just put it off this side like that, because I don't want the glue to sort of reactivate and then stick to the surface, which would be a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it? So I'll put a weight there, and the other weight is over here, just to hold things down. Just put that off the edge there, like that. And then when this is dry, I'll turn it over. But by putting the weights there, it should help to stop it twisting. Nearly forgot to turn you on, guys. So the doping starts. I was going to say continues then, but it hasn't started yet. So what I'm doing, I'm just putting on a coat of thinned down dope, and we'll see if this is enough. only putting it on one side, but I've got some plastic here to protect the work surface. If I turn it over, I don't want it to stick, but if it looks like it's going to start to maybe warp a bit, then I might have to weigh it down. I'm hoping I can get away with one coat. I'm just trying to get it in the light to see where it's drying really rapidly, but then it would, and it doesn't look like it's going to twist up out of shape too much at all. So what I'm going to do, with hardly any on my brush, I'm just going to put some on the decals. In the hope that it doesn't affect them. Hardly any on there, so we'll just see what happens to that before I go crazy. Crazy, Cliff, don't go crazy. Let's go back to this. So it's pretty much dried. Let's do it on the bottom to try and keep things equal. I've gone along the edge already. What do you call them? What do you call these things? Sockets. And we'll do the rudder fin. Again, be very gentle on that. Has it affected that at all? You just look at that Union flag. No, it doesn't seem to have. Let's just whip around the edge actually. I won't do the bottom edge. Got to glue that. It's going to put that in there then. Oh dear, I've got to laugh. On this solid surface, I might get away with just the one coat, I think. And now, I'm going to have a go at the bottom wing. Let's just go for it, I think. Trying to spread it rapidly and evenly. Gone transparent for the moment, but it will darken up again, I think. Time will tell. Right, the reason I've done the bottom is because I'm going to let that dry a bit and then I'm going to do the top and weigh it down. Oops. Something to be aware of, and that is when I do the front here, I'm not going to go too mad because I don't want it to stick down onto the leading edge. So I'm going to go very lightly, as light as I can, in the hope that it doesn't do that. Better tighten out. So it's going to look a right mess. Just trying to evenly take it to the top. Okay. I'm going to put a weight on that. I can use that one there. I can use that one there, like that. And then one there. I'll put one on there. These are very heavy weights, probably a little bit too heavy really. How's the wing looking? The wing is looking like it's stretching out okay. It'll definitely need another coat. I can see there's loads of air holes in it. So we'll give that another coat. So I'll just continue the process and I'll come back to you in an hour or two and we'll see what it all looks like. See the next part. Right, so I've cut 4 dowels, and this one, they don't have to be glued in fantastically, just enough to stop them moving. I can access this one from the inside, so I'll do that now. And you've got to hold itself there a little bit, doesn't need to be glued fantastically. And across, that's touching the bulkhead really nicely all the way through. So what I'm going to have to do is to just put some CA on that and let it run through a bit. But I can't put any activator on it because I can't get in there. Right, there's the 4 dowels in. Here's a couple of rubber bands I bought out earlier. They might be a bit on the tight side though, because it's quite a long way between those two. So we'll see. Let's have a look. This one needs another coat. This was the piece of tissue I found in my box. And it's got a tighter weave. Just goes to show, doesn't it, that the tighter the weave, the less dope you need, and therefore the lighter it is. Although it does feel pretty light. We go diagonally. One will probably do it actually, but two on, one on there. See how easy it is to clip them on because they're not too tight to the wing. I think the top one's okay actually. So I've got a base to glue on there when I finish doping, that way round. That continues the blue. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that nose down like that. Let's put something in there just to, where should we go? There we go. And I'm going to put the tail plane in position and we'll see how well it lines up. It should line up pretty well. That's not far out. What I think, it's pretty much there. What I think I'll do is glue that on with white glue because I don't want it to sort of bounce off or anything. And it's going to be under a little bit of strain with the control rods going to it. So, and I can just leave it sitting there like that. I think it looks pretty good actually, the blue and yellow together. I think my neighbour's drilling. Everything's dried, everything's shrunk, everything's doped. So I've got 2 things to do here. I'm going to glue on the tail plane, but also I want to glue on this piece of wood just there. And to do so, I've got to get this wing in the perfect position. So to do so, I'm going to pick up my rubber bands, and instead of putting them crisscross, I'm going to put them front to back And I've got to start looking at the wheels soon as well, won't I? I've got a couple of options there. All right, let me get this squared up. Out there. And I'll just say about there. Looks pretty good. Now, what am I going to use for this? I could use white glue actually, couldn't I? I could use white glue with maybe a little bit of CA just to pin it in place. So I'm going to put just a little bit of white glue there, a little bit of white glue there. Right, and just to make sure it stays down there in the middle, I can now cross it over. Nice. Now I'm going to fix the tailplane and I'm going to put that in there like we did earlier on. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll also do is just put a couple of blocks on the axles there to stop that moving about. There. You can see that. Let's bend you up a little bit, move it back a little bit, shall we? Let's hope the model never finds itself in this position. Oh, I'm sure it will, Cliff. We'll white glue that on there and just iron that down. That looks most acceptable. Iron up. You could put a rubber band around it actually, that would have held it, but it'll just sit there like that. So we'll come back to that in a couple of hours and glue the fin on. I'll check it from the top to make sure the fin's square, but looking at the line, I say it looks okay. Right, there we are. Let's leave it to dry. Right then guys, getting in now. So I've just CA'd the fin on. Actually, I think I want to put a little bit more on this edge here. Come on, out you come. So I'm going to stick on the transfers, I think, and then look at the push rods, see what we can decide about that. I think it looks superb in blue actually. What a chunky little charming model it is. Normally I wouldn't put this sort of thing on, but as it's an old kit and it's my duty really to try and recreate the box, except for the undercarriage, I must admit I've changed it to tail dragger, but that's only because I couldn't fit the motor in if I had wheeled on F1, the carriage leg. Right. Oh, that split right down the middle. And it's breaking up on the end. I'll stick with it. I have got some tissue, checkerboard tissue that's falling apart. It's not going to work, guys. I'm going to ditch it before I try and piece it together. Let me find my checkerboard tissue. That will work. That will indeed work. Okay, let's make it work. How many checkers are we looking at here? Squares. And it works out. Oops, something wet there. Works out perfectly actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. That's cool. So we'll do 6 squares long, 2 squares wide. Just get that damp. Looks like the blue's coming off there. I hope it doesn't run. This might be a disaster after all. Never used checkerboard tissue anywhere. So this is a first. Well, it's got the look and feel, isn't it? So I'm going to put it on with PVA, and that should. Is that? Yes, do. Have to put a bit more in here, I think. That should hopefully not run then. Put it on with PVA and a drop of water, and that should be perfect. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to lift that side. And put some glue on there. Then. It goes a long way now because it's doped. It's not soaking in. What I'll do, I'll get some dope and I'll go over it with a very light coat. There we are. I think that adds quite a bit of style and character to an already characterful aeroplane. I love it. That looks great. They haven't used the larger roundels that I can see, so maybe they're on the bottom. I can't put those on now, it look a bit daft. So try and give us a clue. Roundels showing on the fuselage side. No reference to roundels at all. Just to lock it in, it's made it quite dark, isn't it? Hopefully it will dry out. I'm going to do that whole panel. Guess I might have a line. Okay. I've had an idea, guys. Not another one, Cliff. Well, yeah. I was just thinking I could put those roundels on the bottom wing, facing down. You'll only see it if the model flies overhead. And if they split, which they might do when I... Oh yeah, that just broken there. That. Let me try damping them and see what happens. The one that's got a split in it is now moving, so I'm going to have a go. That's this one here. I'm going to have a go at sliding it off. If I do it sideways, might lessen the chances of it splitting. You can see where the crack is. That's okay. Okay. That's all right. Is this one moving yet? Yeah. That's often the case actually with these old transfers. There we go. It's a bit of fun. Oops, moving about still. Back there. Look at that. It's a little bit puckery around the edge. I don't know if that will go down. There we are. Used it all up now. That's all right. We'll let that dry and see what happens. Okay, so I've just put the push rod, slipped it in and connected it to the servo, and I've just slipped the two parts together there in readiness to shrink it. Now, just let me change my glasses. Now, if I want it to be the perfect length, I can shrink it in situ which of course I can't do with, let's get this back in, can't do with a lighter because it will set fire to the aeroplane. Which hole shall I go in? If I go in the outer hole, it strains the push rod slightly further out. If I go in the inner hole, it will increase the throw quite a bit. So I'm thinking I might just heat up my rule and see if I can shrink it in situ like that. All I have to do is to heat shrink this onto there, and all will be good. So I've got a choice. I can heat this up and just play it on there like that. Get a soldering iron and play it on there like that. Once it's heated up and shrunk as much as it will, I'll run some CA in there. Or this will hold the heat for a little bit longer. I could heat the rule up and just use it like that. Let's try that. How are we doing? No, it's not there yet. I'm going to heat the tweezer handle up instead. I'll run some CA in on this end while the end's still open. Just a little blob. See if it goes in there. It seems to be gripping reasonably well. Okay, we'll call that one done. Now we'll look at the elevator. That'll hold it. I've gone for these wheels, guys, because they're the slimmest, and they've got the reveals the most axle to put. I'm just retaining the wheels with a bit of heat shrink. And the servo's jumped, so hopefully that's a good sign. Elevator got more down than up, so I might be able to change that somehow. Hopefully that's going to be enough. I could maybe move it into the lower control actually. I'll play with that, see if I can get it in there. Without throttle, have we got throttle? It's the little bead that holds it on. Well, that sounds like it's got plenty of power, doesn't it? So I'm happy with that. All I have to do is to increase the elevator throw a bit, just to be on the safe side. See that? Nice glow in there as well, isn't it? So that goes in and out rather well, doesn't it? And I've got loads of space for a little bit of weight underneath the engine if I need to. Oh, when I say engine, of course, I mean motor. Okay, guys, what I've done then, I've just moved the control rod to the nearer hole for the elevator, so I've got maximum throw there, and she's finished. What about that then? I think it's going to look great in the air. Very pleased with that, actually. Very pleased. It's a really odd looking aeroplane, isn't it? But cheeky with it. So I think it looks great with the blue. The top wings transfers came out right in the end. Yeah, I can't wait. When the weather's good, that'll be another maiden flight. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the build series, I'm going to link them all together, so there's just one long video if you wanted just something to play in the background while you're in your shop. I don't know how long it will be, possibly 3, possibly 4 hours, but it'll be there nevertheless. So if you want to check that out, I'll link to that at the end of this video when it's done. And in the meanwhile, the other videos will be linked at the end for the build series if you want to watch one at a time. And thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to buy me a coffee down below, that would be appreciated. I don't take sugar. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It does help the channel to grow. Brilliant. Thanks for watching. Now all I'm going to do is make a nice thumbnail. Cheers, guys.
Well, hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is the maiden flight of the spotter Bipe, Jasco spotter Bipe. And there's a light wind coming into my face, probably 3 or 4 miles an hour. Not ideal. I might hang around a bit, see if it drops. Wish me luck. I might need it. Might need it with the already half an elevator. Well, but we'll see. We'll see. Right, wish me luck, guys. The wind's getting up. You're at home and there isn't a breath, but you come on top of the field and of course things are different. Now I had a bit of a problem with my TX16S yesterday. I had to replace the battery on the motherboard, and also I downloaded new firmware. It seemed to be misbehaving, but it's all sorted now, so that's the main thing. Painless 360 I looked at for downloading the firmware. If you've got problems with your Radio Master, that's the boy to watch. I've got my timer set for 3 minutes, so, and that battery should stay up the front because I've got a bit of foam here and it sort of wedges it in, so we'll see if that works. I don't want that slipping back during flight, do I? Rudder, elevator, got a bit of up there, look, let's just dial that out. That's better. Okay, favourite transmitter strap for maiden flights from Dad's RC hangar. It's my, what I call my lucky maiden flight strap. It also happens to be my unlucky maiden flight strap. Okay, so I've got wind's getting up now, look, 6 miles an hour, 5. Could this be a thermal blowing through, so we'll give it a minute. So I've got one of my daughters at the controls, so we can blame her. I've got just one rubber band on each side. Oh, this is a shame, isn't it? Can't believe it. I mean, it's beautiful and warm, it's like 23, 24 degrees, but this wind. Anyway, nothing ventured. Hopefully I don't break it. Let me change my glasses. Right then guys, here we go. Wish me luck. Here we go. I haven't even done a test glide, or did I? Did I do a test glide? Should I do a test glide? More likely to break. Just throw it into the ground. Oh! Oh! That swung around a bit, didn't it? At least it went towards you. I got the feeling that it was Dutch rolling. I wonder if it was, if it's tail heavy. Or it just got blown around too much. Could be that. It is a breezy day. Could be tail heavy. I'm going to try a test glide then. I think I might have to go into the shade of the tree over here a minute. At least the grass is a reasonable length. Okay, I'd say that was reasonable glide, so don't know what happened there. It's a shame I can't go down in the valley. I bet there's no wind down there at all. Well, I would say we need a huge amount of down thrust there. If the wind was less, I could go on less throttle. I mean, I have got down thrust built in, not a lot, granted. I could try packing the back of the wing. That might be a good idea. Let's just pause the recording a moment. By packing the back of the wing, it'll give me less lift. Make it not quite such a positive angle of incidence. Right, so what I've done, I've put a piece of 1/32 or 1mm ply under the trailing edge there, so I've got less lift on the top wing. If I find that that is not sufficient, I've got another piece I can put underneath it, or on the leading edge of the bottom wing, which will give me less incidence as well. So we'll try it with this. Yeah, it's not ideal conditions, granted, but you know, I think it's due to be wet and windy tomorrow again. Okay, here we go. Oh, I thought for a minute we had it. I think the battery might be sliding backwards as well, and that's certainly not going to help. Didn't envisage that happening. That could have happened. No, it wouldn't have happened in the impact, because it would have gone forward, not backward. Right, let's get my spare bit of ply out. Oops, hope we get it to fly, guys, because I want you to share in the success of the model. Right, so I'm going to break this into 2 bits, so now I've got double the thickness, and hopefully we don't lose it. Could do with slightly tighter bands. Don't know how many hard landings it's going to be able to take, but at least we've got a bit of grass. So I'm going to try and fly it on less throttle, just in case it's down thrust. Look at that, there's my first piece of ply. It's landed in exactly the same position. or is it? I'm not sure. Yeah, look at that, there's the original bit, there's the second bit, and yeah, there it is. That's funny, sort of. Alright, let me straighten the wings up, and I'm going to try and look at how that wing's pushed right across. I'm going to put those bands on in a square pattern, just to tighten them up a little bit. Let's just take one off a minute. That's considerably tighter actually. I'll just do the one band. Now what about packing this one as well? That wants to be on the leading edge to give it negative. I'm not sure I can do that. I think the servo should miss, but that's going to be sticking up into the... Let's just gently break that to compensate for the dihedral. Oh, okay. With a bit of luck it won't interfere with the servo. That's okay. That band is nearly broken through as well. Fatigued. Alright, so I've got negative on there, negative on there. Let's try again. I'll dial in a bit of down elevator as well, just in case things are... This wind definitely isn't helping, that's for sure. Okay, here we go again. Okay, was Dutch rolling a bit, wasn't it? It may have been me overcompensating. It may have been the wind. Everything's still in place, so let's give that another go. I'm getting closer to the hedge because I should get a little bit of... Trouble is you get turbulence then. It's tricky, isn't it? I'll give it let's go back a little bit. It's not going to make any difference. If I go over the hill there's a hedge, but I'll get... If I get swept away I'm over the hedge, far away. Oh, I'll just throw it into the ground. Is that because I was holding the fuselage and not the front there? I'm not sure. Let's do it again. I was fighting it. Every time I corrected the swing it went the other way. It could be a consequence of the extra dihedral, but it should be fairly stable. It is a free flight model after all. Perhaps if I don't correct, I'll keep my hands off the controls. I think I'm pushing my luck with the wind. Definitely. But it's getting a little bit better, isn't it? I think, in the flight envelope. I could try a bit of nose weight, I suppose. Let me go and get a bit of nose weight, guys. I'll go and pop a bit of nose weight in and see if that makes any difference. Right, I've added some nose weight. not a lot, and everything else is the same. Oh, I've also put a bit of extra foam in the nose to keep the battery forward, so it's just popping off the hatch for the minute, but that band should hold it. And the wind is still blowing. Here we go again. Sunglasses. Oh, that was penetrating rather well. Let's put that elevator back where it belongs. Let's check everything's still lined up, which it is. Try again. Come on, my beauty. Well, the elevator's powerful enough. Still a little bit rocky. Open the throttle again. It looks unstable, but I think it's more me. I need some height to turn downwind. Come on, come on, come on. Battling into wind. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, it's getting blown back. I'm on full throttle. Okay, okay. Poor little thing. Did you enjoy that? It's battling into wind there, wasn't it? Yeah, the elevator's fine. Being half an elevator, that's fine. I'm not sure about the incidences. In effect, I've given it both wings down. Let's just turn you around a minute. In effect, I've decreased the angle of attack on both wings, which has essentially given the tailplane a bigger angle of attack. No, it hasn't. No, it makes it go down, so it's giving it down elevator. I can't play with it in this wind. It's you're fighting it all the time. It's difficult to judge, but I'd call that a success. That was quite good on calmer days, or possibly indoors. That's going to be quite nice, I think. There it is. There she is. Right, now I've got another aeroplane I can fly. If you've enjoyed that, then please hit the like button, and if you want to see some more, hit that subscribe button as well. I'm just watching where I'm going because of the sheep stuff. Yeah, so as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll link the build video at the end of this, and you can watch. I'm also going to put all the build videos together, so you can absolutely watch the whole thing from start to finish, which will be a few hours. All right, cheers.